in Aguleri. Well, let's look forward now and talk about the economy, as Nigeria's economic outlook has been consistently nosediving without control and is leading to a weakened naira, inflation, high cost of food items, fuel, transportation services, and more others. In the last 10 months, Nigerians have battled to keep up with rising prices of basic needs. This was revealed by the National Bureau of Statistics in its Consumer Price Index CPI report for November 2022. Well, according to the NBS, Nigeria's inflation rate has now risen to its 24.32%. It's a worrisome trend, and it looks like it's going to even get worse in the coming days. Gentlemen, we've talked about culture, we've talked about some infrastructural development, but it's now time for us to talk about something that affects us all. The inflation rate in Nigeria is reaching for the ceilings, and it appears that there is no reprieve in sight. Though the CBN has made concerted efforts, including the introduction of new Naira notes, putting limitation on the withdrawals to at least beat down the pressure, but it appears that there more still needs to be done to combat the rising inflation in our economy?
Well, I think first of all, I must commend the resilience of Nigerians. You know, their strength, their willpower to survive this very difficult moment. It's a mystery to me because how people live, you know, from morning to night, from Monday to Friday to Sunday, because things are just getting out of hand. The essentials of life, water, electricity, food, clothing, you know, I mean, you just discover that those things are out of reach of men, in fact, majority of Nigerians. People are becoming more dispossessed. They are losing their purchasing power. And we thought that, you know, things will get better. But unfortunately, things are getting worse. Of course, people have argued that when it's December, which is true, demand goes up because of the festive mood. But the fact of the matter is that we have been fighting this problem for several years. This year has been exceptionally terrible. And compounded with the COVID-19 epidemic, I think I just need to commend the resilience of Nigeria. Unfortunately, more people are losing their jobs because they just find it very difficult to cope. You know, a lot of Nigerians are being thrown into the labor market. Their businesses, they are not running their business from homes because you just discover that there's just nothing to live on. So then we are talking about agriculture that should be the means, a kind of defense mechanism. But you now discover that two things have happened these past years. First is insecurity in our farms. People can no longer go to farms. Then flooding. You know, we had extensive flooding this past 4 months. We may not feel the impact now, but by next year, when people are supposed to be harvesting, that is when we are really going to know that, you know, things have really gone bad. So it's quite unfortunate, and I have not seen an effective response from either state government, local government, or the federal government. The monetary policy that the government is coming up with, I think they are cosmetic approach to resolving an ingrained institutional problem of poverty. You know, because unless Nigeria becomes a country of production where people will produce what we need, at least to a large extent, probably, not all what we need, you know, unless we're able to do that. But the same where manufacturing companies are folding up, you know, even small-scale businesses, they are folding up. You know, people producing, look at how much a bag of pure water now. I think it's about 300 naira. Something that used to be about 80 naira just yesterday. So what are we talking? Even bitter cola, you buy 100 naira. Bitter cola, I used to buy 100 naira to be about 15 pieces. So just tell me, everything has gone up, even things that are locally produced. And you're
almost bringing back the good old days that was just few years ago.
So you know, unless we go into production, you know, where we shift in a paradigm shift from being a consumer society to a country that produces, I don't think we have, you know, any practical solution to the problem.
Well, Dari, when we talk about the economy, we cannot shy away from government role in keeping the economy going, especially some of the issues that Adeoye highlighted is that we're not producing enough, government is not creating the enabling environments to encourage more production of basic needs in the country, lack of security and all that. Are we in for the worst? And what's your appeal to the government at this point? Because it appears like individuals are trying. I mean, Adeoye pointed out that Nigerians, despite the fact that these things are rising by the day, have still showed resilience. You still see people hosting parties and events every weekend, despite the fact that the Naira is losing its value. But it appears the government is not looking towards the direction of solving this problem.
No, well, the government, in my opinion, appears to be foot dragging in addressing this very important issue. You see, in the past, when I see MBS or CBN come up with statistics like this, usually you have all these graphs and diagrams. It was something strange to me, difficult to understand. But I tell you, in the last couple of years, I understand these things easily. You ask me how? Because I can easily equate all the drawings to what is happening in the market. The price of rice tells me what that drawing means immediately. The fact that people can no longer eat meat. You see, if you want to understand how bad times are, take time to leave your comfort zone and visit maybe local markets, local schools, and then you'll understand. I tell you that in the last 10 years or so, some things disappeared from our society. Like, you no longer find people who sell bones. You don't find them anymore. People who sell bones. I mean, meat sellers whose own stock in trade is selling bones, pieces of bones.
All right.
They are back now.
Dari,
that's how bad it is.
Let's allow you to take a pause for a moment as we bring on Ada, who is joining us from Plateau State. Good afternoon to you, Ada. Welcome to the program.
Good afternoon, journalist Hangout.
Welcome.
I'm calling from just Plateau State.
All right. So let's talk. Which of the topic has captured your interest so far?
The one you're talking about now, that is about the inflation.
All right. Share your thoughts with us.
We should move away from being a raw-based economy to a processing-based economy, which will bring about industrialization and in turn create jobs and also enable us to export finished products, which will earn us more foreign exchange. Then the federal government should open the space for building of refineries to avoid monopoly. We're all talking about Dangote. Even if that refinery comes on, we're going to have issues. And then since if our refineries are functioning well, we will stop this idea of importing fuel. And then it will put an end to this fraudulent idea of first subsidy. The central bank governor should close the gap between the official exchanges. I don't have to be an economist to know that there's a problem. The gap between that official rate foreign exchange and that of the parallel market is humongous. It's not connection. You can just sit on your house and be playing draft and make a lot of money. So they should do that. Then we should practice fiscal federalism, otherwise known as restructuring. This our feeding bottle economy should stop. This idea of rushing to Abuja to go and share money. Once we are practicing fiscal federalism, each state will control its resources and then pay tax to the center. And then we will have an economic development plan, which any other government can fall back on. So not this like the typical template in Lagos. All the same, let's not give up on this country. It shall be well. Okay,
Amen. It shall be well. Thank you so much. Ada, who's calling from Plateau Station, made some very, very interesting points. Ending monopoly, especially in the oil and gas sector, petroleum sector precisely. CBN should be more firm in regulating the exchange rates, both in the official and parallel market, and as well, she spoke about fiscal federalism. But let me allow you wrap up your thoughts on the economy.
She took a lot of issues off me. And the truth is that, as I was saying, you'll understand that our people, the real Nigerians, average Nigerians, are feeling the impact of this inflation directly. People no longer eat well. You find people eating what they see and not what they want. And you begin to ask questions. What happens to our capacity? Yes, we are resilient. But are we giving up the capacity to turn things around? It appears so. Why? How? Government. This support base is weakened. The moment let me cite a very clear example, rice. A couple of years ago, 2, 3 years ago, we were making so much noise about local rice production. And all states were competing.
Rice pyramids.
With rice pyramids. Various shapes and sizes of pyramids were seen across the country. Then the borders were closed. Then the borders are open now. It's time for our local rice to compete with these foreign rice that have been giving us a problem in the area of exchange rate. Where are the local rices? Every December for 3 years, Ebonyi rice, Lake rice, Abakaliki rice, Micros rice, Ogun rice. This December, I've been waiting since December 1st. You can't find those things anymore. It shows that we are actually superfluous. We are artificial. We are not real. And until we are serious about competing favorably in the area of import-export, if we continue to import everything, toothpick, there was a party I attended, and the host was proud to tell us that this bottle of water, he brought it in from Taiwan. The bottled water we drank at the party. I was shocked. Is this something to boast about? But this issue of our rice production that suddenly disappeared has shown us where our problem lies. We want to solve our problems in a day. And the moment we are not able to achieve that, we do away with it, and then we accept our
accept the ugly reality. Anyway. But let's wrap up with this. Let's quickly talk about inflation. Most times when we talk about it, we limit it to food or consumables. But it goes beyond that. Sure. Purchasing power, the overall price index, exchange rate, and all that. Let's look at some other things that this inflation concerns have brought about in the last 10 years. Let's look at the Naira itself.
Well, I think the Naira keeps going down. You know, it fluctuates. You know, there's a kind of mood swings. You know, it comes up and then there's a kind of hope, but the next 24 hours is down again. So the Naira is what we call abiku. You know, it dies
because inflationary pressure is always taking it down.
And I think there is an assumption that you know, fiscal policies will automatically readdress a fundamental problem of production, industrial production. It's not going to happen. You know, the Naira will continue to collapse. You know, you may revive it momentarily, but it will go down again. As long as we don't produce what we need, as long as we are import dependent.
The Naira cannot survive a
CPR. Yes. And I think that, you know, when we are talking about reviving the economy, we should tax our institutions, banks, who declare billions of profit every year. They should go into agriculture. That's what other banks do all over the world. They should go into production. Every year, 400 billion, you know, profit after tax. Because the fact of the matter is that when people are not fed well, the nation can never make progress. When you go to Europe, they are very intelligent, they are productive in almost every aspect of engineering. It's because of the quality of food they eat. When you see breakfast in Europe, you see about 15 different types of food for children. There is a correlation between the quality of food you eat and the neurogens, your memory, your health, your intelligence, and, you know, your capacity to think. So if we don't feed, you know, we are not exposed to good diet right from our young age, it's going to affect our productivity and the prosperity of our country.
Absolutely. And of course, we hope the federal government and government at all levels will look at how they can ease the inflationary pressure that Nigerians have had to deal with, not just by handing out subsidies or handouts to people, but putting institutional reforms in place that would help the economy of the country revive and perhaps sustain itself. It's still Journalist Hangout on Sunday. We're still having lots of conversations to come, but let's take a break at this time. I'll be back with more after this time.